Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Post 20 podcast. My name is Evan. I am joined by my faithful co-host Matt. This is the
On
mid.
everybody.
Yep. This is the mid-season review episode. So it'll be like we're gonna quickly go over our mid-season picks. Not picks. How would you say it? Choices for the most impressive team, the most underperforming team, the most underrated player, the best player so far, and then we're gonna do our top four prediction again after we did it at the beginning, and then obviously we will quickly go over the upcoming matches for the next week. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Matt. How are you this week?
No, I'm doing good. I mean, we were just saying before recording, it's cold out. We've played a couple rounds of golf. Well, you have. I hopped in one. We played with our brothers. That was a nice change of pace. I haven't gotten out there in a while, and it felt
Yeah.
good. I shot a couple balls nice later in the rounds.
hmm
Later in the day it got. But yeah, other than that, it's been a pretty decent week.
Yeah, I just got off the course. I was telling Matt before we started recording. Whoops, I am fucking freezing. I mean, my bones are like just hard from the wind. It like I'm still freezing. I'm sitting here in my like 4 layers of Under Armour and hoodie, or not. I took my hoodie off and my beanie still because I'm just fucking freezing. It's great playing golf in the winter because the courses are really quiet. There's not a lot of people here,
Yeah.
especially where we live in a short town. Like the summertime, unless you go at twilight, it's a nightmare because there's 100 people on the course at all times. It's everybody's up your ass. You can't take your time. Can't even take a fucking practice swing because there's fucking shoobies from New York and Philly that are screaming at your fucking. They're screaming at you. I live here. Get the fuck off the course. Let me play, and you come down later. Um, but yeah, it's nice to play in the winter. But the only downside is it's cold. It's cheap, but it is so fucking cold. And I'm still warming up a little bit here. I'm like afraid to touch my cold water. I'm definitely dehydrated because I didn't drink all day, but I didn't want to drink any cold water because I was so cold. It was just gonna fucking make me more freezing.
Yeah, one of the worst feelings is like how you're saying after a nice or a long day outside in the cold, you take a hot shower and it feels like you're burning.
I know. I haven't even gotten a shower yet. I'm gonna fucking take a bath later or something. I literally don't take baths, but I'm so cold that I feel like I need to sit in some hot water for a while later on this evening. Might even might even have a whiskey.
Ooh,
I haven't drank in months, but I might even crack whiskey.
a little buzz.
Yeah, that shit'll get me fucking hammered. Like I said, I mean, it's probably been the last time I went out with you to Cape May. That was the last time. That was the last time that I've been like even
When was that?
remotely. Yeah, exactly. You don't even remember that.
Who went? Was it just
It
us or
was
did Wade?
you, me.
Was Wade?
We met my friend Kaylee there too later
Oh
on.
yeah. Oh wow, that's a long
That
time.
was the
That was
last.
last. That was like early last summer or something.
I may have had like a beer in between then and now. That's probably
Not
it.
even last summer. That was like maybe the summer of
It was the
19.
it was the spring. It was the spring.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's so long I can't even put a finger on it.
What we went to the mug. We
Yeah.
went to Finn's.
Now that you said that, I remember where the whole night now.
Yeah, I was pretty hammered that night. I was pretty drunk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time. Whatever. I don't know. Okay. Let's get into our picks for the mid-season review. So Matt put these together. He put these couple categories together here for us. And I know he's done quite a bit of research. Mine will probably be a little more informal than his, but I'm interested to see if we match up at all here. So for most impressive team, that's the first category. Matt, who do you have?
I mean, the easy one to say right away is Man City with how the recent form is, or Man United of lately. But I went with a outside the top six area. I went with West Ham United. They're currently sitting seventh in the league with a record of 9 wins, 5 draws, and 5 losses. They've conceded fewer goals than Man United and Chelsea, and are on level with goals conceded with Liverpool. So they're right up there with the big clubs there. And also they compete well with them. In this season, they've gotten wins over Leicester and Everton. And I would say even more impressive is they've gotten draws against Tottenham and Manchester City. That Spurs game, they were down 3-0, and they scored three late goals from the 80th minute on, which is capped off with like a 95th minute screamer from Lanzini. Um, I don't think they had any right in getting a point out of that game, but how it finished was incredible for them. And I'm sure, as you as an Arsenal fan, that was nice to see Spurs always drop points.
Yeah.
Um, I would say their main issue right now is converting chances. If you look in all their past games, they've only scored over three or more goals, maybe once or twice. They average one, maybe one goal a game. That's just a lack of depth. We've said over the past two shows, I think, with them selling their main guy, Sebastian Haller. Take that for what it is, but one of their two strikers they've had, they got rid of him. Now they rely on Mikel Antonio. I was looking on One Football and a couple other news outlets for transfer rumors. Apparently, they're linked with a move for El Nesri. He's a forward
Yeah.
slash yeah, he's a forward slash winger for Sevilla right now in La Liga. Um, he's done well in the Europa League at times, and he's not entirely your main guy you want to go with. But for a rotation guy with him and Antonio, when Antonio's dealing with his hamstring issue, that's all right. But they only have a solid 11 to 13 players, I would say, that going off that lack of depth point. So I don't see them pushing for top six, but in my preseason prediction, I had West Ham finishing 20th. I thought they were going to get relegated. I thought their business as a whole was poor over the summer, but it turned out I was completely wrong, and I'm glad because they have Thomas Suchek and Kufal, both players coming from Slavia Prague in the Czech Republic League. Both very cheap. Both are hard starters in their lineup, and they're integral players. Suchek plays alongside Declan Rice, who I would say is their key player. He's only 21 years old, and he's the captain of the club, which says a lot for his maturity and how he holds himself. He's a rock solid holding midfielder, and I would say after this year, it's going to be really hard for West Ham to hold him because clubs like Chelsea and United, and I'm sure abroad like Madrid, are looking at him too.
Mm.
But yeah, as a whole, I think West Ham, if they can keep this form up and hold and hover around that 6 to 7 area, I think this would be a fantastic year for them.
Okay. Yeah. When I was going through my things, West Ham were on my short list. Ultimately, I didn't pick them. I picked United. They,
Hmm.
as of the past, I don't know, 15 weeks, have to me appeared to be the not only most impressive team, but the most rapidly improving team. It does seem like every time that I watch them, they seem to be putting something else to get like they fix a part of their game each time that they play. And this team has become more of a unit, especially in the last 3 to 4 weeks, with the now continual inclusion of Eric Bailly at the back. It
Yeah.
seems like Bailly and Maguire play a lot better together than Lindelof and Maguire. And I think when you watch matches, I watched a couple matches back maybe a week ago. I watched some early season matches because I was looking at United's current form versus how they were playing at the beginning of the season,
Right.
and the way that they played defense is so much different now.
Hmm.
It's much stronger centrally, whereas before you were relying on Wan-Bissaka and relying way too much on Luke Shaw to make crucial tackles. And now I just think that there's a lot more confidence, and I hope Bailly continues to get the nod here because he has, I would say, transformed the level of confidence that they had at the back. And I don't think that there's any argument to be made about United's form right now. They've ground out some wins here that they really needed. You know, they did draw against Liverpool, which is huge. They currently sit with 40 points. Their goal differential is 11, which is one of the lower goal differentials in the or yeah, one of the lower goal differentials in the top four. City has 18, whereas Leicester City has 14.
Right.
So they don't score. They don't score an absolute fuck ton of goals, but I think that they score when they need to, and I think that they're going to continue to do this for the rest of the season. I mean, they've only continued to build chemistry, whereas it seems like some teams are losing chemistry. Chelsea being one of them.
Hmm.
United seem to be rapidly improving and steadily improving, which is what I think you want for a title contending team, and for me, they're just the most impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with you on some points, but I think what they're going through right now is deserved. But the beginning of the season is a true sign of I think how they're going to finish the year.
Okay.
I think them and Liverpool completely switched roles. Liverpool started out hot while United was cold, and I think the end, or I should say, the start of November to the end of November was when things started shifting for both clubs. United started getting a run of games. They started beating all the teams they should have beaten, and like you said, defensively they've straightened up,
Mhm.
given Bailly more minutes, and Wan-Bissaka straightened up, and De Gea is not committing as many errors.
Mhm. That's true. That's big. I didn't even think about that.
But I would say their main. I think reason this is the main reason I think they're not going to win the league. They can't get those key moments or key performances from their star players in the big matches.
Yeah.
You said they got a draw against Liverpool, dropped 2 points. They played Man City twice. Granted, once was in the League Cup, but they drew and lost in those two respectively. And they got a draw against Leicester. These are all teams they're competing with at the top of the table. And and even going to that beginning of the year that I mentioned before, they lost 6-1 to Spurs,
Yeah.
which was absolutely annihilation. Obviously, they got a red card there
Even
early
Arsenal beat
on.
them.
Exactly, Arsenal got a win. So it's going to be interesting to see their upcoming run of games. Obviously, Sunday they play Liverpool in the League Cup, or in the FA Cup, I should say. And then a big run of games come where they play Arsenal, Southampton, and Everton, which is, I think those three matches are going to be very key to see if they're serious or not to compete with their main competition right now, which would be Man City. I think Leicester will drop off a little bit too, just because of the same reason as West Ham. I don't think they have the depth off the bench.
Yeah.
And news came out today that Jamie Vardy is going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. He just had hernia surgery,
Saw that.
so he'll be recovering from that. But also from a Man City point, Kevin De Bruyne is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring issue, which is very, very troubling for them because I would say he's been their best player performing this year, 4 goals and 10 assists. He opens up the game so much for them, so it's going to be very hard for them to replace those performances with Bernardo Silva in there or a Fernandinho pushed into there.
Yeah. Um, sorry, I didn't know if you were done or if you were gonna
Yeah,
say pushed into their something role. But yeah, I mean, De Bruyne is like their talisman player. He everything goes through him for the most part. It's rare that you see City win a game by playing the flanks, right? The ball typically gets played out to the flanks by De Bruyne, and then sometimes they manage to get it in, but
mm,
we'll have to see. I just I think I don't know if I agree with the fact that United will finish poorly. I think that they have. I just think that this bump, like this run that they've had here,
yeah.
has to continue to carry on for them. They're a huge club. They do have the players they need. I think Bruno and Pogba playing well together is easily the best midfield duo in the Premier League. I don't even think it's who else, like, at their very best, who else is better?
I mean, maybe I was gonna say Chelsea, but they just haven't been consistent with
Yeah,
a.
but
You
you're
mean
right,
like
though.
a pair going forward or in general?
I just mean in general, like, at their very best, if there was another midfield duo that you can think of right now that play together and imagine them at their very best, like, would they be better or would they just be on par with Pogba and Bruno? Because their ceilings are so immensely high
I right away one first thing that comes to my mind is Kevin De Bruyne, but his pairings this year has
or
been
poor, right?
Rodrigo,
Gundogan.
Gundogan. He's stepped up a lot. I think he's got 5 goals in his last 8 matches.
Yeah,
They sometimes push Fernandinho into there, or they pull Bernardo Silva back there, but they don't have a true partner for him in there,
right.
long term, I should say. And I was going to say Chelsea with N'Golo Kante and Mason Mount. Mason Mount he was an honorable mention for me for most underrated player. but I think Mason Mount on his day, he can pull some games up
Yeah.
and get some points. But yeah, I don't right now currently. I think that's the best pairing. I would agree with you on that point.
Yeah, and I just think that if those guys continue to play well and continue to provide service for Rashford and for the motley crew of wingers and forwards that they play, depending on the day, Greenwood or Martial or Cavani, they all can kind of get on the end of it, and Martial has been scoring ever so often, and Cavani's been scoring when they play him. So Greenwood's really the only one that hasn't provided, and he hasn't really played much. So I just think that they have a lot of options, and I think that they've been playing pretty well. I don't necessarily think that they will win the league. I think City will win the league. But
Yeah.
right now, as of this mid-season review, Manchester United are the team that most impressed me. So with that, we will move on, and I guess who are I'm going to tell you who my underperformers are. It's Liverpool. I know that they're fourth in the league right now as of this recording.
Yep.
But to me, they have the strongest roster. When you have Mane, Salah, and Firmino, there is no reason for you not to score. There's no reason. I don't care what type of issues you have as far as defensive injuries go. I don't care if you're having goalkeeper issues, which they're not. I mean, they have Alisson there. There's no reason that they should be even conceding. He's
Mhm.
one of the best in the world. I just don't see how this Liverpool team can be 6 points behind this United team. When you have Salah, Firmino, and Mane, that one of them should be scoring at least a goal a game. I just don't get it. I thought they would run away with the league.
I think teams have figured out their style of play and system. I don't think Klopp's being as creative as he usually is. I mean, he's talking about VAR with United. He's getting in arguments with the Burnley manager.
He's
Um,
frustrated.
yeah, he's frustrated about a lot of things, and he's taking it out on other problems. Whereas he needs to go in house and figure out a way to change it up. He tried with Shaqiri and Origi yesterday against Burnley. Obviously, that didn't turn out well. Origi blew a chance, hitting the crossbar right before the half. Shaqiri doing what he can, but eventually Salah and Firmino came in. You thought the ringers coming in to save the day, and that couldn't happen. But I mean, they have 2 goals in their last 5 matches, which is absolutely unheard of. Coming
It's
off a
it's
7-0 win over Palace,
it's pitiful.
and it's not even a defensive problem. They're not leaking an
Right.
increasingly amount of goals like you would think with the lack of Van Dijk and Matip being in and out. They have to slide Fabinho and even Jordan Henderson back there,
Yeah.
and bringing in that Max Phillips who nobody heard of before 3 months ago.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, it all falls on those attacking players. They have so much pressure on them, and I think once Diego Jota comes back, I think that's going to add a fresh new breath of air into the team, some new life. I think he'll open things up, and it'll be hard for team. I mean, you already saw at the beginning of the year how hard teams couldn't handle him because they've never seen him play in that system before. So Klopp needs to figure things out soon because they play Spurs in the next match, so that's going to be a very 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 big match. They did beat them 2-1 earlier in the year with a 90th minute winner from Mane, but we know how this game's going to go. It's going to be Liverpool dominating the possession. I looked at the stats from last time; it was 75-25 in possession.
Hmm.
Liverpool outpassed Tottenham 800-200 in passes.
Jesus.
But we know how it's going to play. It's all going to be on the counter for Tottenham, which is how they're built with Mourinho. We've said that. So it'll be interesting with a similar reputation of team, 2 big clubs, rather than Liverpool the past 3 to 4 weeks playing inferior competition that pack it in. Things might open up a little bit more for these players. So it should be interesting to see how they carry themselves.
Yeah, we will have to see. I don't know. I've been hoping that we would get more of that firecrackers type style of play that we were getting before, when Klopp had first come here and established that star trio. But you're right. They've been found out, and the ball getting crossed in by TAA and Robertson. has just teams have figured that out, and they've realized that if you just park 6, 7, 8 guys in the fucking 18, or more compactly the 6, then those balls are never going to get in. And these guys can work the ball in so close, but then they just drag it instead of trying to put it on frame, and it's proved to be a problem. And Liverpool just look impotent in front of the net when it matters, and that's why right now, as of this moment, they are my most underperforming team. How about you?
Similar with my most improved team, I went with an outside the top six team. Like you said, Liverpool were up there for me. Obviously, you could say the same about Chelsea or even an Arsenal,
Yeah,
but
they
I
just
went with
suck though.
yeah.
Like they
I w-
just
they're pulling it back. They're in great form. They
yeah,
can they have some matches coming up that they look favorable for them. But
yeah.
yeah, I went with Wolverhampton.
Mm,
They sit right now 6 wins, 4 draws, and 9 losses. That's up there for the most losses in the season outside of the bottom three. Um, and they only have 1 win in their last 9 matches, and that win coming in a 95th minute winner from Pedro Neto against Chelsea. Obviously, that piles on to Chelsea being shit, but moving on, since joining the league 3 years ago in 2018, they finished both of their last 2 campaigns in seventh position. I don't see that happening this year
no.
because they can't put a run of wins together. They get 1 win and then they lose two. It's like taking a step forward and then two back. And that's due to them being injury prone. They lost their main striker in Raul Jimenez, who currently, right now, being out for almost 2 months, is still joint top goal scorer for the team on 4 goals with
Mm,
Pedro Neto. And to solve that, they're in talks right now to bring in Willian Jose from Real Sociedad for the remainder of the season on loan with a £20 million option to buy. He averages 11 to 15 goals and 3 to 4 assists a season, going back in his last 5 seasons professionally for them. That'll be very nice for them, an actual striker that understands the position and can get in certain slots behind the defenders to open things up for the wingers. Because we've said Pedro Neto, Podence, and even at times, what's his name? Ruben Neves have
mm,
played as a shadow striker,
yep.
guys that aren't used to that position. So getting somebody like that, there were also rumors. I don't think these were even close to being true, but there were talks of them bringing in Diego Costa.
I saw that.
That would be funny to see him back in the Premier League. How he came in 2014-15 with Chelsea, bringing that tough guy edge. Everybody hates him.
He's such a fucking bastard. I do
Yeah,
not want him back.
he's a very polarizing figure,
Oh, he's fucking.
but he produced great moments for his time in the league with Chelsea, winning 1 Premier League title. But back to Wolves, they're not beating teams they're supposed to. They have losses against West Brom recently, 3-2 of last week in a rivalry game. Obviously, 2 of those came from penalties, so maybe it wasn't all on Wolves there. It was due to the refs a little bit, but they also lost to Burnley too, so who currently right now are their competition in the table. And they also have draws against Newcastle and Brighton, who are terrible this year. Newcastle, especially in their form, I'd say they're probably dead last, even below Sheffield, the way they're playing. They lack firepower. I said Neto leads the team with 4. Second in the team in goals is Roman Saiz, who's a central defender. So that is saying a lot of their attacking players. And I looked into this. I did a little bit of math here. Their attack, all their attacking players, and I included Ruben Neves in this. Their average age is 21 years old. I would have to say that's probably the one of the youngest attacking groups in the league, and it's showing in the score sheets how they're producing with Fabio Silva, who's 18, Pedro Neto, I said 20, even Ruben Neves is 23. So they're a very young team. They, I'm comparing this to the last 2 seasons. Like I said, they finished seventh. Nuno was so new to the league. He had his style, similar to how Leeds is now, how they entered the league. They were a very attacking team. They didn't change their tactics to who they were playing. They came out in their system, and it didn't matter who it was against. They played their way, and it worked out in their favor. And similar to a Liverpool thing, I think teams have figured out them. And obviously, some games have key moments to where it can be unlucky and doesn't go in their way. But losing 9 matches, there's something wrong. It's
Yeah.
not a fluke. So that's why they're my biggest underperforming team.
Okay. That's fair. I think I agree with you. It's unfortunate actually to see Wolves play so poorly this season, especially after having a somewhat decent start. The loss of
Yeah.
Raul Jimenez, I think you can attribute a lot of it to. He's not only kind of their leader and like their talisman player, um, but but he's just fantastic, and he
Yep.
is a visual leader, like or visible leader rather.
Yeah.
And obviously Nuno can't be out there on the pitch telling the guys what to do. So it's really rough. I feel like I know they've only been in the league for 3 years, but it feels like Raul Jimenez and Nuno have been in the Premier League for 25 years. I feel like
Yeah.
I've been watching them forever because they're such a Wolves play a distinct style when Raul Jimenez is on the pitch, and having missed him is really rough for them. He,
Yeah.
he has a skull fracture, so I know he's back in light training, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. He'll be
Sometimes
done for the
those
rest of the year, probably.
yeah, sometimes those injuries can also haunt you after. Um, who knows? Maybe he'll be wearing the thing that Czech used to wear. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah, we saw how Czech came back and had a great long career. Obviously, the goalkeeper position's a lot less contact than a field player, but still, you can put a great career together even after a serious injury like that.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
in their next match, they play Chelsea, who's in terrible form. So both teams are in bad form, and Wolves, like I said earlier, did get the win over them the first time. So it'll be interesting to see if they do the double over Chelsea or if Chelsea can get revenge and Frank can get the monkey off his back a little bit and get that pressure off him from the media.
Yeah. Hopefully. Okay. Most underrated player. Mine's a homer pick. I don't know what
Yeah.
yours is, but I have Saka on mine. His stats I looked today do not tell the whole story. He only has 4 goals and 1 assist in 17 games. I don't think that tells the whole story, as I just said. I think that he has been um, responsible for injecting life back into this Arsenal team. I think he plays with a youthful vigor. I think he is extremely talented. And I think that he has a drive for the game that a lot of players on this Arsenal team right now, especially the older ones, do not have. And he seems thirsty and he seems ready to play and give you 110%. And I think that it's important for Arteta to have guys like that. And I think Saka is everything that you want in a I mean, I don't want to say club captain, but he has the
Big word.
makings of a yeah, I know it's bold, but he has the makings of a guy that you want to make a mainstay at the club. He cares. He is obviously playing for the badge. He's giving everything he has. And I mean, he for playing in a left back, wing back, left mid when they need him position and doing everything that he does, I think is very impressive. And he's very young. So for me, I think he's got to be the most underrated player. I don't think Arsenal ever strings this this like form back up. You know, it's four wins, 1 loss from the last 5, or 1 draw rather. I don't think that is even remotely what our last 5 form looks like if Saka is not on the pitch every game. So
Yeah,
it's him for me.
I can definitely see that point. Yeah, he does bring out the best of people. Aubameyang did get 2 goals against Southampton. He's really needed that for a long time. And yeah, and you've seen other guys step up from that team as well with Emil Smith Rowe.
He's great. Yeah.
Uh, Tierney's picked it up going forward a little bit, and you're getting solid performances out of your center backs. Rob Holding's doing well, and David Luiz occasionally can get in there too. So Arsenal's on the way up, and Saka's a great player to have in your club right now.
Yeah. Oh, quickly before we move on to yours, I did want to say Mesut Ozil has officially left Arsenal. My favorite player, probably it's very close, probably of all time. He's probably my favorite player ever. Um,
What would you say would be your most memorable moment of him?
my most memorable moment, either
Yeah,
when he tied Henri's assist record in what year was that? 15, or when he had that magnificent solo goal in the Europa League against Ludogorets right before they started to bench him. Have you seen that goal?
not
I'll
recently. I'll
I'll
watch it back after
I'll
this.
I'll tweet it out after. But I mean, just the amount of skill that he had, that he possessed, in playing passes and in dribbling too.
Mhm.
Just unreal. I mean, he was a maestro. He was such a creator, a beautiful footballing mind, and it's unfortunate that he had to go out this way. I know that he's starting to get up there in age. I think he's 32 now. But I feel like I've been watching him play for 20 years. I watched him play the entire time at Madrid, and he was just as good when he came to Arsenal. And once Wenger left, he just fell out of favor. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, now he's going on to bigger and better things. I hope they utilize him over in Turkey, and I hope that he plays amazing. And Arteta sees, how much of a jackass he is for letting him go for free.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So good luck to you, Mezet. We appreciate all you done for the league.
yeah. Oh, we're looking at what's the kid from Odegaard, Martin Odegaard.
Yeah, you're gonna do like a loan deal for the rest of the season or something.
I'll take it. Although ESR's been playing well, Smith Rowe's been good,
Yeah, I think that's what Arsenal's missing in their midfield. They need an attacking,
attacking
driving
mid.
force in there. That's what I wanted to make the point earlier with Liverpool. I think they need that too. Their midfield's a
Oh
little
yeah, flat.
stationary. That's how a lot of them are. But my most underrated player right now, I don't know if you consider him underrated with how he's done this year, but I think he does fly under the radar a little bit. I think Patrick Bamford,
That's who my other one was.
the striker for Leeds,
Yep.
he 10 goals, 2 assists in 18 league appearances. I think he can finish with 15 to 20 this year
Oh yeah.
easily, and I think doing that, he'll probably get scooped up by a bigger club, if not this year, then the next, if he can replicate it next season. But he's the main vocal point of probably the most potent attack outside of the top 6 clubs, I would say. Similar to how I was talking about Wolves, how they entered the league, they came out in a all-out attacking style of play. That's exactly what Bielsa and Leeds are doing. They score a lot, but also they concede a lot. But it turns out to be great matches to watch as a neutral. He's a versatile player. He can play as a lone striker. He can play with a partner, and he's also dangerous from outside positions. He can link up with teammates, getting assists. Technically great on the ball, an aerial threat, and he has a high work rate on both sides of the ball. That you've seen him in moments where on defense he wins the ball back in key areas to lock teams down and get great counterattacks going. And he follows the play all the way through to where he can get tap-ins and also set up teammates for easy tap-ins as well. So he has the support of his manager, teammates, and fans. I think the media sleeps on him a little bit. That's why I think he flies under the radars and is underrated. And I think one of the key factors for him having such a great year so far is he hasn't had any major injuries or setbacks to interrupt his season. Like other strikers, like I mentioned earlier with Jamie Vardy, you've seen with Aguero over years and years how he's on track to have a 30-goal season and then get injured for 2 months. So those are things that go in his way. And I think what a great story for him to have a year like this is where he came from. He was a part of the Chelsea loan system that recently Lucas Piazon, who was a 10-year member of the club, was just sold. He did 7 loan spells in that time. He only made 3 career professional appearances, and he came out and pretty much talked shit on that whole system in the club and how it does not help those players because he would come in the summertime for trainings and preseason tournaments, and the players would tell him to put in the grind, and like the manager will see. But then they bring in 3 new players for over 50 million pounds, and then he knew he would never play So it's a flawed system, especially there. I mean, you see now with Tamori, he just got sent out on loan to
AC
AC
Milan, right?
Milan, yeah, for the remainder of the year with an option to buy. I think is at 25 million pounds or
Yep.
euros.
Yep.
So I think he'll definitely get sold. It's hard to see. He's an academy product, Chelsea through and through. I really want him to play more. It's a tough situation because they brought in a guy like Thiago Silva who carries a great reputation, and you know he's a great player. But if he didn't come, I think Tamori would have been right in there alongside Kurt Zuma. But it didn't work out. But yeah, I think that's why Patrick Bamford is my most underrated player.
I think that's fair. He was my other option. It was either
Mm.
going to be Saka or Bamford, but I thought that you would pick Bamford, and I didn't want to pick the same. I am curious to see who our best player so far is. For me, it pains me to pick
Oh, I think we're gonna say the same.
Wangman's son has been
Oh, okay,
number one for me. He really
okay.
has been. He is bar none, I think, the most naturally gifted player in the league. He has 18 league appearances this year, 12 goals, 6 assists. He can either score at will or assist at will. And I don't think there's been one game where I haven't seen him get a chance. And you know that Tottenham don't play an amazing possession game. It's just
No,
one of those games where if the ball falls to Son, you know that he can do something fantastic with it. He can cut inside, he can go wide. It doesn't matter. He's so talented. Um, with his attacking prowess. He reminds me of like players of old. It's like when Henry used to get the ball and you'd be like, oh, he can score from wherever he wants. He can
mm,
dribble or he can take a rip. It doesn't matter. And Son kind of reminds me like that. It like I said, it does pain me to compare him to one of my favorite Arsenal players of all time, but
yeah,
he is that talented, and I'm surprised that Madrid or Barca haven't come knocking yet because he's unfucking real.
yeah. He was up there for my honorable mentions with Bruno Fernandes and Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah,
I went with the other guy from Tottenham. I went with Harry
Kane.
Kane.
Yeah,
Um, Honestly, there's Son does not have a season like he is without Harry Kane,
I think
in
it
my
works
opinion.
reverse too, though. I think.
I don't know. I think Harry Kane. I think I'll say it here. I think Harry Kane is a better player than Heung-min Son. I know Son is more explosive. He is the more dynamic player, but Harry Kane and his role is so crucial for that team and how it plays, similar to a Roberto Firmino of the past.
Yeah,
Not in the similar style of where he goes unnoticed because Kane does score, but currently he has 12 goals and 11 assists in 18 league appearances, 19 goals in all competitions so far. Um, he is the head of that Spurs attack. He can
yeah.
play as a lone striker, or I should say, this season, he's played as a lone striker, similar to past, but he's come as a false nine kind of striker. He's converted from a hold up top, wait for the ball to he gets involved in the build up play more. He comes back to collect the ball, which allows his teammates to push past him up the field into more attacking positions. You've seen that a lot to where a lot of chances are created where Kane comes back, collects the ball in the midfield, and by the time he gets it, Heung-min Son's gone, and Kane plays a spectacular ball into him, and Son does the rest. So I can see why you say Son in the finishing, but I look back into the buildup of it and how he fits into little pockets in between defenders and the midfielders at times to create chances for these guys. Not only Son, but everybody else around him. Uh, and he works well with his teammate like Bamford. He works well on defense too. He gets stuck in to win the ball. He's not afraid. I think he's probably going to end up with at least 25 goals this year. I was looking back to the past 5, 6 years of his goal tallies. The last 2 years he did 17 and 18. He's probably going to smash that. And the year before those two, he got 30. I think he'll be on par for that, especially with how they play. And I honestly think they'll end in the top four this year.
Yeah, I think that the argument for Kane there certainly exists. He's been one of the most prolific strikers in the league, and I did say I don't think that Kane has these numbers without Son. I think that he is capable of doing it without Son, but I think having a person that you play so well alongside in kind of a partnership role, even though obviously they're both not strikers,
Mhm.
um, does make it a whole lot easier because they have a synergy that just makes racking up goals and assists for both of them
Well,
so much
there
easier, right?
there was a time before Son was to where he is now, where Kane had 3 seasons where he scored 25,
Yeah.
27, and 30 goals. So
Yeah.
he can do it by himself.
Yeah.
That's why I think he's a more complete player, maybe not better player,
Mhm.
but he's more complete. Son is more dynamic and creative on the ball, but Kane has is the full package.
Yeah. Which is unbelievable because he's built like a fucking bricklayer.
I know.
It is impressive. It's very
He's
impressive.
he's the captain for England for a reason.
Yeah. Um, yeah, he's just like a fatter Jamie Vardy. But he is. He is fantastic. I definitely entertain the idea that Kane is the most impressive player this year. Certainly, he was in my um he was in my thoughts too. But
Mhm.
I not necessarily stats matter for sure in this discussion.
Right.
I'd say they're about 80% of the discussion, but the like the magic
Yeah.
for me is big. And when I watch Son, you do experience some fucking filth, like some wizard filth.
Yeah, he definitely has more highlights. Zach did make the point before we started recording. I was talking to him downstairs. He was saying that if United wins the league, he thinks Bruno deserves Player of the
He
Year
does.
because he's sitting on 11 goals and 9 assists, and since he was brought in, he accounts for I think 50 to 60% of their goals, whether it's goals him scoring or assisting.
United is dog shit without Fernandez. I don't even
Yeah,
think they're in the top 5 without Fernandez. He's like bar none the the most important player to a team in the Prem. He's not my most impressive player, but he honestly he should have been in contention for me. I didn't really give him a fair shake,
yeah,
but he is certainly the most important player to a team.
yeah.
Um, okay, so our top 4 prediction is the last. We're at 45 minutes. Holy fuck, we're gonna have
Mhm.
to run quickly through our like main game prediction. But
Mhm. Yeah.
top 4 prediction for me, easy: City, United, Liverpool, Spurs. I
Okay.
don't think Chelsea touched the top 4. I only think it's going to get worse for them. I think that Frank unfortunately will leave. 2 more losses and he's gone in my opinion. Abramovich doesn't fuck around. He doesn't sit around on managers for long if he doesn't see that they're,
Yeah.
achieving for them. I don't think Arsenal unfortunately make it into the top 4. They may finish 6th. We will have to see. Um, I just think that the top 4 teams right now have too many goals ahead.
Mhm.
The order is certainly going to get switched up. Obviously, United are in first right now. I think City are the team that do it, and then I think United slip a tiny little bit, but only to second. Liverpool pick it up towards the back half of the season, get themselves third, and Spurs kind of sit where they are right now and take fourth.
We have the same teams in the 4. I just
Yeah,
have them in a different order.
yeah.
My preseason prediction, I had City, Chelsea, Liverpool, United. It's in that same order. I just swapped Chelsea out for Tottenham. I think Tottenham finished second, above Liverpool and United. I think Leicester come in fifth. They how I said with West Ham, they only have a limited amount of guys that are good and off the bench. They're not at the same level. I think that's going to show in these big matches. They'll drop off a little bit, and that's the difference between making the top 4. But yeah, my big one in there is Tottenham finished second. We just talked about how we made the arguments for Son and Kane being the best players this season so far. I think they'll combine for at least 40 goals this year. and in those big games, they will show up. Against Liverpool this weekend, I think Tottenham will beat Liverpool, and I think the same thing when they play United. I think they're a better overall, maybe not a better overall team, but I think they play better together. They're more acquainted with each other rather than Liverpool and United are. So that would I mean Man City's gonna run away with it. They're on 9 in a row. They're probably gonna win their next 3 before they play another big team, and they'll still dominate that. It's very hard. I mean, with the news of Kevin De Bruyne now being out for 4 to 6 weeks is massive. So now is the time to play them if you're a big club to get the advantage on them. But yeah, that would be how I see the top 4 finishing.
All right. All right. You want a quick run through these games? Just like go off the dome.
Yeah.
Okay. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., Aston Villa takes on Newcastle. I think this is a rescheduled game from earlier on the season. One of
Yeah.
them got canceled because of COVID. I'm taking Villa here. Newcastle looked like shit against Arsenal last week, so taking Villa.
Yeah, short and sweet Aston Villa here. Recently, they haven't been playing well. They haven't been on the scoring sheet, but Ross Barkley is now back in their midfield. Beginning of the year, he was a driving force going forward, opening things up for other guys. And like I said before, Newcastle to me is the worst performing team so far as of recently. So I think Aston Villa does get the win here.
Okay. No games till next Tuesday after tomorrow's game. So on 126, Newcastle take on Leeds. Once again, Newcastle, shit club. Gonna take Leeds here.
This is a dicey one because you never know with Leeds hit or miss. But
Yeah.
Newcastle can catch them on the counterattack. Steve Roost has switched back to a 4-4 or yeah, 4-4-2. They can get a squeaky goal, but on the day, I think Leeds. Hmm, I'm gonna go safe here. I'm gonna say it's a draw because I don't know what Leeds is gonna show up. They did just lose to Brighton last week, 1-0, which was unsuspected. But I'm gonna go with a draw here. Shared points.
Okay. Fair. Crystal Palace, West Ham next game. That's a 1 p.m. game as well. I'm gonna take West Ham because I think that they're streaking right now. I really like the way that Suchek has been playing, and I think the return of Mikel Antonio has been great for them. He's got 3 in his last 2 Prem games, which is fantastic, especially if you picked him up in fantasy like I did. Palace not looking so great, obviously bottom half of the table. I think West Ham continue their form here. David Moyes has them sharp and on point. West Ham 1-2-0.
Yeah, off the rip, my instant gut check is yes, West Ham here. Not a lot of goals. Both teams struggle scoring and converting their chances. So I do think this will be a 1-0 game. The way it finishes, though, I think Palace steals this one. I think Roy Hodgson cooks something up. I think the defense, as of recently, has done okay to an extent. They did get a 0-0 draw against Arsenal, which was pretty hard, especially in the form Arsenal have been in. And they're coming off a big 4-0 loss to City, where I don't think it should have been 4, it maybe 2 or 3, but they were hard done a little bit there. But I do think Palace gets a much needed win here.
Okay, fair. Next match, Arsenal Southampton. This is one of the 2 3:15 games. This
This
could
is gonna be
be
good.
a really good game, I think.
Mm.
I actually am predicting a draw. I think it will
Mhm.
be a low scoring draw. If it is not a draw, then I think it's a Southampton win, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, Southampton play a really solid style, and I just don't know if Arsenal are in good enough form to exploit that right now. We will see. I mean, maybe there will be a couple counterattacks here that get Arsenal in on frame before Southampton get in on ours, but I just don't see that happening. I think it's either like a 1-1 draw or a 0-0 draw. So I'm just going to go with draw.
Yeah, Southampton as of lately don't concede many goals. Arsenal, like we said, are in great form. We do get a preview of this matchup tomorrow in the FA Cup. These two
Yeah.
teams face off against each other, and then this match we're talking about takes place on Tuesday. Danny Ings is going to be back. He did in the last game not play against Leicester. He was missed. after that Liverpool performance, getting the early goal. I don't I don't know. I'd like to say there's going to be very little goals because both defenses are playing very well.
Mm,
I'm going to give the edge to Arsenal here. I
okay.
think Arsenal edge it out 1 nothing 2-1 ish. I'm not going above 3 goals total, but Aubameyang getting 2 goals in one match is massive for his confidence. And I do think it carries on here. I think they do get the win here, and it's huge because both teams are right next to each other in the league. So 3 points for Arsenal, they leapfrog Southampton, and if Chelsea loses to Wolves, that puts them in the top 8. So I think Arsenal wins this one here.
Okay. Next one's short and sweet for me. City plays West Brom. City are streaking. They've got what? How many wins in a row? You said 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that they're gonna have 10. I just don't think West Brom are playing great. I thought when Big Sam had them playing okay for those first like 2 or 3 weeks
hmm
defensively, that things would be okay. But they've started to leak goals, and I
hmm
just don't see any like strong attacking presence here. So I'm just gonna say City win.
Yeah. Even when they do win, they give up a lot of goals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as of right now, they've given up 43 goals in 19 matches. They averaged a little over 2.5 goals against, or maybe or around that
Yeah,
a
it's
match.
rough.
So it's very, very poor. They're definitely going to go down. I don't see an escape for them. But yeah, City here, easy cakewalk. Take it to the bank.
Okay. After that, Chelsea Wolves. Yikes. Wolves did beat Chelsea earlier at the death this season, right? It was 2-1, if I
Yes,
recall. Okay.
95th minute winner from Pedro Neto.
Yes, I remember that well. I was smiling.
Yeah, I'm sure you were.
I'm actually going to take Chelsea here. I think they bounce back this week. Wolves are obviously in poor form. They're down in 14th. Chelsea's struggling now. But I think that Frank knows his job is in danger. I think they throw a lot forward here, and I think they actually get a couple goals. I think it'll probably be like 2-0 Chelsea.
Until proven otherwise, I am not taking Chelsea. I think this game,
Wow.
they attacking wise cannot score. They are just as bad as Liverpool right now going forward. They need goals from their midfield to get in these games. Ben Chilwell has been slacking from fullback, getting in the attack. Reece James can't get in the matches because he can't get his fitness. Azpilicueta can't do that same job. And N'Golo Kante can't get in the match either. His fitness is poor.
I saw
So
someone call him Obese James the other day.
yeah, it's fucking rude as
if
shit, bro.
if
Don't
I,
do my guy like
it,
that.
it cooked me, dude, because they said he's never fit.
Yeah, it's he can be such a great talent if he can get play a full season without injury.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, until proven otherwise, I think this game's ended in a draw. Whether it's 1-1, 2-2, I think it's a draw.
Okay.
Straight up.
All right. Aston Villa, Burnley, the next game. This is actually a sleeper good match. Burnley, after coming off a win versus Liverpool, following and who scored? Ashley Barnes.
Yeah, on a pen.
Oh my God, what a bullshit fucking way to win! But I'm so glad they did. Obviously, Burnley coming off of a hot week versus Aston Villa. We will see if they can continue that form. I'm actually going to go with Villa here. I just think that Villa are overall a better team. And while they aren't as solid at the back, they are much better up top. So I think Jack Grealish and the boys win this one. It'll only be 1-0, though. Burnley does not concede foolish goals.
No, they could have off that Ben Me mistake, but Origi's a shitbag, so
Yeah,
he
yeah.
also lost me money. I had the under 2.5 and an Origi goal, so when I
Oh.
saw him hit the crossbar, I fucking shit my pants because I was so mad.
How much money did you have on that?
It was $10.
Oh.
It
What was
wasn't much.
what was the payout? Solid?
90 to 100.
That's not bad.
It's pretty high. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go against you again here. I think Burnley are in great form. They defensively, I would say, are probably one of the best teams with their system. They know how to defend. Sean Dice is a defense first guy, and they have the team to hold teams out. And Aston Villa, as of lately, cannot get goals in. Um, their last match, they lost 2-0 to City, which is a tough task, and the Previous time they played, they only got one against United, and then even before that, it was only one against Chelsea. So they're not creating the chances. Ollie Watkins has gone 8 straight
He's
games,
missing, dude.
9 without a
He's on the
goal.
he's on the milk cartons. He's missing.
Fantasy wise, this match tomorrow against Newcastle is make or break for him because if he does not score, he's getting dropped, and I am taking somebody new because
I'll
he's
pick
pissing
him
me
up
off.
because my
Um,
team's in shambles.
yeah, we play each other this week actually,
Yeah, I'm
so
I'm
I,
struggling. So
yeah, I just got smacked by Zach. His team absolutely put me in, but yeah, I think Burnley here in a very low scoring game.
okay. So Matt and I are differing there. I'm taking Villa. He's taking Burnley. Brighton, Fulham, shitter of the week in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, Fulham. I'm just gonna say Fulham. I know that Brighton just got a who did they beat just recently? Oh,
Leeds.
it was Leeds. Yeah, so they beat a solid Leeds team, but Leeds is just so like shittily. They just play such shitty defense. It doesn't really mean anything to me. I think that there's just going to be those games for Leeds where they lose to teams that are not better than them.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a true sign of them, and I don't think it's a true sign of how good Brighton is. I think Brighton are poor. I think Fulham have more structure, and I think Fulham actually beat this Brighton team this week.
You know what? Both of these teams are very good at this, drawing games.
Yeah, I know.
Brighton lead the league with 8 draws. Fulham right up there with 6. Easy pick. This is a draw all over it.
Okay, fair enough. United, Sheffield United. So the
Oof.
United teams play each other. There is something deep inside me that's telling me like
No.
something happens here, but I'm just gonna say that Manchester United win this. I think they continue their form, but I have a feeling something will happen in this game, whether it's some VAR nonsense or I just have a feeling premonition.
Yeah, Sheffield haven't played since that 1-0 win. Or I can't say that. They got their 1-0 win over Newcastle, and then, like I said last week, they got a spanking from Spurs. It was coming. They did get one past them, so they did get on the score sheet, which does not happen very often. But I think United do win this game. I don't think it's by much. United cannot win games big. They
Yeah,
do not. They have been scraping games out. Their form recently, yes, they have been getting wins and wins and wins, but only by one goal mostly. So
yeah.
it's a low scoring affair. 1-0, 2-0 here to United.
Okay, fair. Next game, Everton, Leicester City. Good game. James should be back full strength, playing at his very best. I don't
Hmm.
think that that's enough to stop this streaking Leicester team. I I don't really care that Vardy's out. I know that that's a big hit for them. I just think that they have enough talent in the midfield to win them
Yeah.
this game versus Everton. You're gonna see Tielemans and Madison carry most of the load this game, but they've been
Yep.
doing that. They've been doing that anyway. So I don't think that they're really gonna miss a step here. I'm really kind of on Leicester here to beat Everton.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on the point that the midfield needs to pick up the slack for the forward players. James Madison is in very, very good form right now.
He's unreal, dude.
He's killing the game. The media loves him. Brendan Rodgers is in love with him. Um, it's going well for Leicester, but both of us did shun Leicester out of the top four. They currently sit in third right now, uh, with a great resume as of right now of wins over big clubs. So this is a very big match for them because if Everton wins, it's a 6 pointer. Everton will get 3 points shy of catching Leicester in the league. It is at Everton. This is a big statement match for Ancelotti and the boys
Yeah,
because if they seriously want to be in the talks of top four, which nobody puts them in, hardly anybody, this is the match to win. They have 2 games in hand on Liverpool and Leicester. So a win here is massive for them. And that is why I think they do squeak this out. I think Jamie Vardy is that big of importance to how Leicester plays. So I'm going to go with Everton here.
okay. I think that's fair, especially for competition's sake. That's good. Who do you think? Who do you think starts? Do you think Jose Perez will start for Vardy, or do you think it'll be Iheanacho?
I think Iheanacho gets the nod, which is
Yeah.
hard to say because Jose Perez has been playing more of a winger role or
Mhm.
a rotation guy up top. Iheanacho is more like how Vardy plays.
Yeah. Center forward
I mean,
striker.
the most recent memory I have of him is him missing the penalty for Leicester a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
He has not scored in a very, very long time. That's why I feel like with him in there, they'll be playing with 10 men. Um, I'm not disrespecting him like that, but just it's a huge drop off from having Jamie Vardy up there and what he can do on counterattacks and that.
For sure.
So I think that's a major loss for them going forward.
Okay, I think that is true and probably uh fair. Last game, Tottenham, Liverpool, game of the week, right?
Yeah, easily.
Liverpool win.
Yeah, I mean, I have to go with Spurs here. I
Okay.
think Liverpool squeaked out a win over Spurs earlier in the year, and I think this is Spurs getting vengeance. It is at Tottenham. Uh, Tottenham is on a high right now in form. Uh, 2 wins and 2 draws. They haven't lost as of recently. Liverpool are in terrible form right now. It's getting to a point where they're probably going to get compared to how bad Chelsea is. So I think it continues on. I think the Klopp drama and the uh, Mane Salah drought in the goal column is continuing here. We've just made great points of why Kane and Son are up there for players of the seasons or even the Golden Boot winners. So I do think Tottenham wins this game, and I think they win. I think they get at least 3 past Liverpool here.
Damn, 3?
I think it's a big statement win. I think it really. This is a big statement win for Mourinho and making him and showing why he is the special one.
We'll have to see. I don't know how special he is these days. Seems like his players do most of the work for him.
That's what you want. You don't want to be in the spotlight as a manager.
That's true. Um, I think that Liverpool so desperately need a win, especially against a
Really.
big six club. I just think that they need it more for the fabric of their club and for the sanity of their fan base to get this win than Spurs do. Spurs are capable of beating the smaller clubs. Liverpool seem to struggle against the smaller clubs. So I think that they'll be out here. I think that they'll be strong. I think that they'll play their best team. They just played a terrible team against United. A very just Origi and Shaqiri. Come on, dude. So we'll have to see, but I think that Liverpool get the win. And that is it, I think, for our predictions.
Yep, that concludes the halfway point awards and our predictions for game week 12 or 20, I should say. Sorry. Um, Make sure you guys check out our other content. Evan just posted his Wake Up Wednesday a couple days ago. If you guys want to hear NFL talk, and then also listen to my series Trips M, which comes out on Mondays. We just recap gambling over the weekend and other sports news going on in the world. So check us out at SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or if you're a visual watcher, check out our YouTube channel. Click the link in our Twitter bio, which is at Post20Pod. It'll take you straight to our YouTube page. And hit that subscribe button. Why don't you? It doesn't hurt. It's free.
Yeah.
That big red button in the bottom right corner. And while you're at it, click click the bell next to it. It'll notify you whenever we post new content up there.
Yep.
And in the months to come, we're going to experiment with new things, I'm sure. So make sure you're checking everything out. And Evan, anything else to add on?
No, that's it. Thank you guys all for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.